Millionaire CEO makes heartwarming move to save fainting girl, but exposes an amazing hidden truth. Ethan Parker stood in the bustling city of New York, a self-made millionaire CEO, with the bright lights of success shining around him. But the news that gripped his heart was not from a boardroom, but a small town in Ohio. A 12-year-old girl named Lily lay in a hospital bed, her life hanging by a thread due to a rare illness that her working-class family simply couldn't afford to treat. The headline read like a hook, tugging at the strings of his soul, and prompting memories of his childhood, a time filled with hope, dreams, and the quiet struggles of a family barely making ends meet. Ethan quickly made his decision. He would return to his hometown, the place he thought he had outgrown. The town was a shadow of its former self. The main street was lined with closed shops and faded "for sale" signs. But the heart of the community still beat beneath the surface. With a fire ignited within him, he planned a charity gala to raise the funds for Lily's treatment. He envisioned bright lights, the sound of laughter mingled with the clink of champagne glasses, and hope rekindled in the eyes of those in attendance. As news spread about the gala, Ethan faced a flurry of reactions. Some residents welcomed him back, their arms outstretched in gratitude for his attempts to help. But others whispered behind closed doors, their skepticism heavy in the air. "He has forgotten where he came from," they muttered. They watched Ethan, the golden boy, with a mix of admiration and resentment, questioning whether wealth had clouded his understanding of their struggles. At first, the weight of it all hit Ethan like a freight train. Memories of his own childhood flooded back: the small-town diner where he took his first job, the days spent dreaming of a future far away. He spent late nights talking to community members, hearing stories etched with the bitterness of unfulfilled dreams and a silent hope for brighter tomorrows. Just days before the gala, an unexpected crisis emerged. A former acquaintance from Ethan's past revealed a shocking family connection that intertwined their lives in a way he could never have anticipated. The revelation hung in the air like an uninvited guest, gnawing at Ethan's resolve. Would this revelation unravel everything he was trying to build? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the gala arrived, glittering and full of promise. Ethan stood at the threshold, eyes scanning the crowd gathered in the old town hall, their faces a mosaic of curiosity and skepticism. Hope pulsed in the room with the beating heart of the community, yet shadows loomed as secrets waited to be unveiled. As he took the stage, the lights dimmed, and anticipation drew breathless silence. The air crackled with raw emotion. Everyone carried the weight of their stories. Would the past allow him to bridge the gap? Then a shocking announcement rang out, pulling him into a spiral of uncertainty. In that moment, everything hung by a thread. Would this be the twist that broke them apart, or the key that slotted them into the larger picture of hope and redemption? The answers felt like a breath away, as tension crackled and the weight of the unknown pulled at his heart. Ethan's heart raced as the announcement echoed through the crowd. His pulse thudded in his temples, drowning out the whispers and gasps that washed over the audience like a rolling tide. He grasped the podium, his knuckles turning white. The name mentioned sent shockwaves rippling through him. Alex Porter, a name from the dusty corners of his past he thought he had left behind. A hush enveloped the town hall. Memories flashed through Ethan's mind, reckless teenage adventures with Alex, laughter shared in their small-town backyard, and moments of brotherhood forged over the challenges of their youth. But that bond had frayed long ago, severed by the sharp edge of fate. He felt a multitude of eyes on him, seeking answers, explanations, a narrative that could bridge the gap that had widened between them. As Alex emerged from the shadows of the crowd, a wave of emotion struck Ethan. He was different now, rougher around the edges, yet a part of him was still undeniably the same. The brotherly glance shared at that moment was both comforting and jarring. Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this reunion was destined to either save or destroy the fragile hope he had held onto for Lily. "Ethan," Alex's voice broke through the silence, steady but laced with years of unresolved tension. "You didn't think you could just waltz back into town, throw a gala and act like it was all good, did you?" Ethan swallowed hard, the knot in his stomach tightening. He had come back to help, but here stood the reminder of the past's grip on him. "I'm here for Lily," he replied, trying to carry his voice above the murmurs swarming like bees in the hall. "We can help her, together." But Alex crossed his arms, determinedly shaking his head. "This isn't just about the money, man. It never was. You're up there, all polished, thinking you can fix everything with a check. But you don't know what we've been through." The words cut deep. He had indeed lost touch. He had climbed to heights that many could only dream of, but at what cost? The questions swirled in his mind like a storm. Could wealth truly just serve as a band-aid for festering wounds? Suddenly, the crowd erupted with conflicting reactions. Some nodded, seeking confirmation, while others murmured discontent. Ethan felt the weight of their gazes, the unspoken challenge hanging in the air. He couldn't ignore the truth Alex espoused, but he also couldn't retreat to the background now. "Alex, I don't want to erase the past, just rewrite it," Ethan implored, his eyes wide with vulnerability. "We need to unite and bring hope back to this town. For Lily and everyone else." But even as he spoke, uncertainty loomed like dark clouds promising a downpour. Could he change perceptions that had been shaped over years? Could he put aside his guilt and bitterness? "Hope doesn't come easy, Ethan," Alex said, his tone softening slightly, but still charged with the weight of experience. "It's built on trust, and you've got a long way to go to earn that back." The tension shifted, the atmosphere thickening with possibility. Perhaps they could confront their shared histories, rewrite their story together. He could see the flicker of potential in Alex's eyes. The chance for reconciliation was within their grasp. As the crowd settled, Ethan took a deep breath, sensing that this night was more than just a gala. It was an invitation to transformation, to challenge the very essence of who they all were. As he looked out into the faces of those he once knew, a profound question emerged within him, one that could either unify or divide them further. How far could they go to change the narrative of their lives? The answer danced just out of reach, leaving them suspended in a moment charged with urgency as the future awaited eagerly, just beyond the curtain of uncertainty. Would they forge a path toward healing, or would the ghosts of yesterday haunt them forever? Ethan's resolve deepened as he surveyed the faces in the hall, a mix of familiar warmth and unyielding skepticism. The air felt thick, like a fog cloaking the truth. He could almost hear their thoughts, wondering why he was really here, why he dared return. Their hesitation mirrored his own. Did they want to believe that he could help? Or were they convinced he would tear them apart all over again? "Let's talk outside," Alex finally said, his voice steady. He turned and walked through the crowd, his strides purposeful. Ethan hesitated for a second, then followed. They stepped into the cool night air, the moon casting a soft glow on the town that had raised them. Ethan could hear the distant sounds of the gala continuing inside, laughter and music, an eerie contrast to the weight pressing down on him outside. "Why after all this time?" Alex asked, his tone edged with an emotion Ethan couldn't quite name. "What makes you care now?" Ethan knew this moment was pivotal. "I care about Lily," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "And I care about the town we grew up in. I didn't realize how much I missed it, the people, the connections." Alex's expression softened for a breath, then hardened again. "It's not enough to just show up and expect everyone to forgive and forget. You made your choice." "I thought I was doing what I had to do," Ethan replied. "But it doesn't justify leaving everything behind. I want to help. If there's any way to turn around what happened to Lily, I want to be part of that." A flicker of surprise crossed Alex's face. "You really think you can fix everything with a hefty donation? You don't even know the situation. Then tell me, Ethan challenged. What's it going to take? Alex hesitated, searching Ethan's eyes. It won't be a quick fix. It demands trust, rebuilding the ties we let wither. It means facing things we'd rather forget. Ethan felt it then, the old wounds, the scars of their childhood that ran deeper than he had remembered, much deeper than any amount of money could touch. I'm willing to work for it, he said, determination solidifying in his chest. Alex broke eye contact, staring into the distance like he was arguing with ghosts of memories. Slowly, he nodded. Okay, but you need to understand, it might break you before it makes you. Are you ready for that? The sincerity in Alex's voice sent shivers down Ethan's spine. It was one thing to talk about change or redemption, it was another to face the reality of it. I don't know if I am, but I can't back down now. For Lily, and for us. The silence stretched as Ethan waited for a reaction. He wasn't sure if Alex would agree, if they stood on the brink of something bigger than both of them. Then, with a deep breath, Alex extended his hand. Let us try. But you can't just give up when the going gets tough. Ethan grasped his hand firmly. I won. Inside the town hall, the noise faded as they tried to find common understanding. Ethan sensed that tonight was more than a reunion, it could be the key to healing old wounds or opening new ones. As they stepped back together, side by side, two men shaped by the same past but altered by time, Ethan felt a spark of hope. It wasn't just a flicker, it could blaze into something transformative. Then, just as they crossed the threshold, a commotion from the crowd caught their attention. Murmurs surged forward, someone shouted Lily's name. Panic seized Ethan's heart. He looked at Alex with a mix of fear and determination. What's happening? Let us find out, Alex replied, urgency flooding his voice. They rushed back to the hall, adrenaline pushing them forward. As they pushed through the gathering crowd, Ethan's mind raced. What had happened to Lily? And would it change everything they were trying to build? Their journey together hung precariously in the balance, teetering on the edge of revelation. Ethan's heart raced as they pushed through the throng of people, a wave of uncertain whispers crashing around them like a rising tide. He caught glimpses of concerned faces, eyes filled with worry, and the murmurs shaped into fragmented sentences. They said she was. Alex's hand remained firmly on Ethan's shoulder as they broke free of the crowd, heading toward the center where a small group had formed. The light from the chandelier glinted off worried faces, illuminating the panic that had taken root. At the center of it all was Lily, slumped against the wall, surrounded by a few townsfolk. Her pale face dimmed Ethan's hope like a fading light bulb. Lily! He called out, rushing forward. Alex, right beside him, the town's doctor, Dr. Patel, was kneeling beside her. He looked up at the sound of Ethan's voice, his brow furrowed with concern. She's fainted. We need to get her some air, and quickly. Ethan's chest tightened. Lily? He crouched down to her level, trying to catch a glimpse of her eyes. They were closed, and for an instant, the world around him froze. All those years apart, the guilt, the regret crashed over him like a tidal wave. Give her space, yelled one of the bystanders, her voice raw with fear. Slowly, others stepped back, forming a wider circle around Lily and the doctor, allowing the weight of the moment to settle. The noise of the evening faded, replaced by the sound of Ethan's thumping heart echoing in his ears. Lily, wake up, Ethan whispered, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. Her skin was cool, the lack of warmth making panic gnaw at his insides. Please, just open your eyes. Dr. Patel nodded, trying to keep calm. We need to move her. Alex, could you help me lift her gently into the hallway, away from this crowd? Alex obeyed without hesitation. They lifted her carefully, and in that moment, Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders. This wasn't just about making amends to the town or showing up to be the hero. This was Lily, the one person he cared about more than he realized. He couldn't bear the thought of losing her. Once they laid her down in a quieter area, Ethan watched as the doctor examined her. The familiar flicker of fear and anger surged within him. "What happened to her?" he asked, urgency dripping from each word. "She's been under a lot of pressure lately," Dr. Patel replied, his voice steady as he checked her pulse. "With everything happening in the community. It's understandable, but we'll need to address this more seriously." Ethan felt a flash of confusion. "What do you mean? What has been going on?" Dr. Patel hesitated, searching for the right words. "There are financial struggles. Many families are feeling it. Lily has taken it upon herself to help everyone. She has been working non-stop on fundraising efforts." Ethan swallowed hard, realizing the weight of expectation on Lily's shoulders. It suddenly made sense, all those late-night phone calls, the shadows under her eyes. "And am I leaving?" "It didn't help," he murmured. Alex placed a hand on Ethan's arm, grounding him. "You can't change the past. But if you want to make it right, we have to figure out a plan. She's not the only one in need." They both turned to see Lily beginning to stir, her eyes fluttering open, confusion flooding her expression as she blinked against the bright light. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and Ethan's heart soared and then ached. "Ethan?" she croaked, her voice barely above a whisper, but it held a world of emotion. "I'm here," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together." But as she fought to sit up, a shadow loomed at the edge of the crowd. Someone was watching them, eyes narrowing, lips pressed together in a line of disapproval. Ethan's stomach knotted. Who were they? And what did they want? Just then, the chilling realization set in: if the past threatened their future, that shadow could spell doom for all of them. Would they have time to unravel the troubles plaguing Lily and the town? The answer hung in the air, as heavy as the night itself, leaving Ethan breathless with uncertainty as they all faced the unknown ahead. Ethan's heart raced as he turned his gaze back to Lily, who was still looking up at him, struggling to comprehend the chaos around her. "Ethan, what happened?" Her voice was raw, barely more than a whisper. "You fainted," he said, his voice steady, though his insides churned with fear. "But you're okay now. You're with me, and we're going to sort this out." He gently supported her back, helping her sit up a little more, wanting to shield her from the crowd's eyes while solidifying the bond between them. "Lily, listen to me," Dr. Patel interjected, his authority quickly re-establishing the seriousness of the situation. "You've been pushing yourself too hard. You need to take care of yourself first before you can help others." As the doc spoke, Ethan noticed the shadow looming at the edge of the crowd had moved closer. It was a stern-looking man in a crisp suit, the kind of person who seemed out of place in this intimate gathering. Ethan could sense tension radiating from him like a storm cloud waiting to burst. "Who's that?" Ethan asked Alex, nodding subtly toward the stranger. Alex narrowed his eyes. "That's Mr. Wright. He's a big player in town, businessman, investor, but he's also known for being cutthroat." Ethan's gut twisted unnaturally. Just what they needed, an opportunist in a moment of desperation. "What's he doing here?" "I don't know, but I don't like it." "Let us keep our eyes open," Alex replied, tension creeping into his own voice. Meanwhile, Lily seemed to gain strength. She pushed herself upright and instinctively reached out for Ethan, her fingers intertwining with his. The warmth of her skin sent a reassuring wave through him. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to worry you," she said, her eyes sparkling with a glint of determination that made Ethan smile. "It's okay, but please, you have to promise to lean on us when you need help," he urged, hoping she could see he wasn't just talking about the fundraising. He was ready to carry her burdens too. Before she could respond, Mr. Wright stepped in, his demeanor unfazed by the earlier concern. "Lily, I heard you've taken it upon yourself to shoulder the town's issues. Remarkable initiative for someone your age. But I think this whole charity thing may have gone too far," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. Ethan's fists clenched instinctively. What's that supposed to mean? Wright shot Ethan a dismissive glance before focusing back on Lily. Your efforts are noble, but a little misguided. We need real solutions, not just a temporary fix. What do you want? Lily asked, her voice firmer now, matching the strength in her grip on Ethan's hand. I think it's time I stepped in. I could provide some funding, but... He paused, a calculating look crossing his face. There's always a catch, isn't there? Perhaps a different approach where someone more capable could lead. Ethan could feel the tension rise in the air thicker than before. Lily's expression shifted to one of anger mixed with determination, and Ethan squeezed her hand tighter. We're capable, don't underestimate us. Are you? Wright fired back, his eyes flickering with challenge. You know the town needs a savior. If it's not you making hard choices, then who will? Just then, the atmosphere charged with a feeling that was almost electric. It was as if everyone was holding their breath, and for the first time, Ethan realized the stakes. This wasn't just about Lily or the fundraiser, but about the soul of the entire community. How many people are counting on her? Ethan challenged, standing taller as he faced the businessmen. If you're here for the town, then you better be ready to uplift it, not tear it apart. Lily's eyes were bright now, reflecting the fire flickering within her. I won't let anyone take my efforts away just for their own gain. The crowd began to murmur, a swell of support for Lily growing in the background, but Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation was just the beginning. They were about to step into a battle for their town, and the stakes had never been higher. Could they rally the community and stand strong against a powerful force like Mr. Wright? Or would shadows of the past pull them back? As silence enveloped them, the answer remained uncertain, leaving Ethan's heart pounding as he stared into the fire of Lily's eyes, ready to fight for what was right. Ethan felt the weight of Lily's hand intertwined with his, grounding him even as Mr. Wright's dismissive stance seemed to challenge their every word. The crowd was beginning to hum, a resonance of support swelling with each heartbeat. He could see it in their faces, the uncertainty, the hope, the shared belief in something bigger than themselves. This moment could tip the scales. Lily, he said quietly, leaning closer, this isn't just about you. It's about everyone here. We need your strength, your passion. Don't let him take that away. His voice was steady, a whisper of encouragement wrapped in disbelief. Wright smirked, his eyes flickering with amusement as if he was watching a play unravel before him. Such naive optimism. These people are desperate for real change, but you're stalled in idealism. Tell me, how do you plan to achieve that with this candlelight vigil of volunteers? Lily inhaled deeply, letting his words wash over her. My idealism is my strength. We may not have all the answers, but we have hearts committed to making a difference. And that's the first step we need. She tightened her grip on Ethan's hand, a spark igniting her fierce resolve. Heart alone won't keep the lights on, Wright shot back, stepping closer, forcing their eyes to lock. How do you propose to keep funding these dreams without navigating the real world? I could show you a path. It won't be easy, but it would be effective. Ethan felt the fury boil within him. How could this man ignore the people standing shoulder to shoulder, eager for true change? We don't want your path. We want to fight for the people, no strings attached. Wright laughed, but it was a hollow sound. And fight you will. Your innocence is charming, but it blinds you. Look around, Ethan. Do you think starry-eyed charity will save everyone out here? He gestured around, indicating faces that echoed their worry. Ethan caught glimpses of those faces, mothers, fathers, children, each with their struggle. He turned back to Lily. We'll find a way, he insisted, his voice steady despite the anxiety churning in his stomach. We'll show them. Her gaze sharpened, shimmering with unyielding bravery. Yes, we will, but we can't do it alone. This community stands with us. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Whispers of encouragement traveled like wildfire, reinforcing their power against the looming threat. Wright's expression shifted, his facade cracking ever so slightly beneath the pressure of a growing wave of community spirit. "You think this is just about you? You're playing a dangerous game," he warned, but there was a tremor now, a hint of unease creeping in. "I'm not afraid," Lily replied boldly, her voice ringing true, capturing the raw energy of the moment. "We'll use our voices to fight for our town. We won't back down." A ripple of applause erupted from the crowd, and Ethan felt a surge of pride for Lily. He realized then that this was more than a battle against Mr. Wright, it was about reigniting a sense of community, a passion for change that had lain dormant for too long. Wright took a step back, assessing the atmosphere. "Perhaps I underestimated you, but understand this, I will not be kept at bay." He turned, his presence a parting storm cloud that shrouded the circle they formed. "What now?" Ethan asked, watching Wright retreat into the crowd, but feeling the tension still hovering above them like an impending storm. Lily took a breath, the fire in her eyes undiminished. "Now we gather our strength. We'll meet with the community, talk about what they need, and create a plan. We can't let fear rule our town." His heart swelled at the confidence radiating from her. "Are you ready for the fight ahead?" Lily nodded firmly, determination etched on her face. "It won't be easy. But if we do this together, we can't lose." Ethan smiled, excitement and dread intertwining as he envisioned the struggle before them. But it was a challenge he was ready to embrace. As the crowd began to rally, voices rising in shared resolve, Ethan felt the pulse of potential thread through the air. But a chill ran down his spine. Was Mr. Wright truly finished, or would he return with even darker designs? With the heart of the town at stake, the path ahead was uncertain, but they were more than ready to take the first step into the unknown. The days following the vigil felt electric. Lily and Ethan poured themselves into organizing meetings with the community, and each session was a little miracle. People began arriving with stories etched into their faces: a mother who struggled to find food for her kids, an older man who was losing his home, a group of teenagers who felt trapped with no escape. Each voice added a layer to their growing mission. Ethan watched Lily transform during these meetings. She stood at the center, guiding the conversations, her passion infectious. Every time she spoke, the room would brighten, as if her words were the sun breaking through a heavy cloud. "Together, we can create a community fund," she suggested one afternoon, her voice rising with conviction. "We can help each other when we fall, and support local businesses to keep our money circulating right here where it belongs." The room erupted in murmurs of agreement. Ethan caught the spark of hope in the air, igniting a fire that he knew couldn't be extinguished. But amid the rise of their unity, Wright loomed like a shadow. Conspiracies flickered around him, whispers of backdoor deals and threats to silencing their voices. Ethan often felt that chill creeping at the edges of their success, a reminder that Wright was a powerful adversary, and he was not going to retreat quietly. "Have you heard about the proposed zoning changes?" Lily asked Ethan one evening as they walked home from a meeting, her brow furrowed. "Wright's trying to push through a plan that could bulldoze old businesses to make room for that shopping complex." The thought twisted Ethan's stomach. "That could destroy everything we're building. We can't let that happen." Lily stopped and turned to him, her eyes fierce. "Then we need to gather more support. We can't just show up and protest, we need a strategy that hits them where it hurts." Intrigued by her determination, Ethan nodded. "Let's create a petition. If we get enough signatures, the council won't be able to ignore us." That very weekend, they rallied people in the community park, passing out flyers, explaining why their homes, their businesses, and their very lives stood on the line. Children ran around with colorful petitions, parents added their names, and laughter mixed with the seriousness of the moment. It was a whirlwind of hope, and Ethan felt every heartbeat of it. But just as they began gaining momentum, Wright struck back. One cold evening, as Ethan and Lily were gearing up for another meeting, a knock reverberated through the air. Standing at the door was a grim-faced news reporter, her camera crew in tow. "Mr. Wright has made some disturbing allegations against your community initiative," the reporter announced, her tone serious. "He claims that you're stirring unrest and obstructing development for personal gain." "What?" Ethan exclaimed, the weight of the world crashing around him. "Is that what this is about?" Lily questioned, her voice trembling with disbelief. "We're trying to save our community." The reporter continued with an unyielding gaze. "Wright has evidence and he's threatening to expose it unless you back down." Ethan felt panic claw at him. Were they so close to making a change only to be silenced? Would they let this man crush everything they had worked for? He looked at Lily, her chin held high, and knew they had to fight even harder. "We need to confront this," Lily declared, her voice steady. "We don't have evidence of wrongdoing, but we have our truth." Ethan agreed, feeling the surge of fire in her determination. "Let us organize a rally, bring the community together. We have to show everyone what we stand for." As they strategized their next steps, uncertainty buzzed in the air. Would the rally turn into a spectacle that played into Wright's hands? But as they prepared to face the storm, Ethan felt an undeniable surge of hope. They weren't just defending themselves, they were fighting for every person who felt their voice had been taken away. And as they began to talk about the rally, a thought flickered through Ethan's mind: what if Wright had more than just a plan to push them out? What if he had something to lose as well? With the weight of that question heavy on his heart, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was only beginning. But it was a fight worth every ounce of struggle, and he was ready for whatever lay ahead. Would the community rise together against the tide, or would Wright's shadow crush their hopes once and for all? The day of the rally dawned with an electric buzz in the air. Ethan could hear the distant sounds of laughter, music, and voices weaving through the streets as he and Lily made their way to the community park. The sun hung low, casting a warm golden hue over everything, feeling like an omen of hope. As they approached the park, Ethan's heart raced. Tables were being set up, colorful banners unfurled above, and people from all walks of life were gathering. This was the moment they had fought for, a chance to stand together, to shout back against the looming threat. "Look at them," Lily said, her voice a soft whisper, tinged with wonder. "We're not alone in this." Ethan smiled, feeling the warmth of her hope spread through him. He glanced around: families carrying picnic baskets, children running with balloons, older folks sharing stories about how the community had once thrived. Every face was illuminated with passion, determination, and a shared goal. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. As they took their place at the front of the gathering crowd, Ethan stepped closer to Lily, sensing her growing anxiety. He squeezed her hand, a silent reassurance. When the time came, Lily stepped up to the microphone, her confidence radiating. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "Today isn't just about us, it's about our homes, our dreams, and our community. We won't let anyone take that from us." The crowd erupted into applause, each clap echoing the sentiments in their hearts. Ethan watched as Lily's intensity captivated everyone. She spoke of unity, of fighting for the vulnerable, and above all, of hope. But then, like a storm cloud rolling in, a familiar face appeared at the edge of the crowd. Wright, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, stood with a smug smile plastered on his face, flanked by his security team. Ethan's heart sank. He was here, intruding upon their moment of triumph. "Looks like the circus has come to town," Wright called out, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But let us not pretend this is about community. This is about keeping a dying business alive." "How charitable of you." Ethan could feel the crowd tense, a wave of uncertainty sweeping over them. Lily took a deep breath, steadying herself. "No, Mr. Wright," she countered, her voice steady. "This is about standing up for each other. It's about fighting against the exploitation of our community for profit. We deserve better than that." Cheers erupted, filling the park's expanse like thunder. Ethan, fueled by the collective energy, let out a cheer himself. This was the spirit they embodied: resilience, strength, and solidarity. But Wright wasn't finished. "Let me remind you," he said, his eyes narrowing. "If you continue this foolishness, you'll be digging your own graves, and I'll make sure to pick up the pieces." Lily met his gaze, unflinching. "If we are going down, we'll go down fighting. This community isn't just a business opportunity to us, it's our home." The rally grew louder as people shouted their agreement, rising to the challenge Wright had issued. They weren't going to retreat, they were all in this together. As the speakers continued, rallying the crowd, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about saving their community anymore. It was personal. It was a fight against a system that could easily disregard their rights, their struggles, and their existence. After the rally ended, Ethan pulled Lily aside, catching her breath. "Wright will strike back. We need to be prepared for whatever he has planned next." Lily nodded, determination etched deep in her features. "I know he'll come for us, but he won't succeed. We've come too far to stop now." As day turned to dusk, their resolve hardened. But deep down, Ethan knew they were walking a tightrope. The shadows of doubt lingered, whispering that their fight might just ignite a firestorm they weren't ready for. Would they be able to withstand the backlash, or would they find themselves facing something much darker than they anticipated? With that thought weighing heavily on his chest, Ethan couldn't help but wonder, what secrets lay hidden behind Wright's facade? What was he truly protecting, and how far would he go to keep it? The sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the park in shades of orange and pink, but the tension in Ethan's chest was far from fading. The voices of the crowd still echoed in his mind, a symphony of passion that urged him to action. As families began to pack up their belongings and camaraderie settled into lingering conversations, he turned to Lily, watching her shoulders relax, at least a little. "We did it," she said softly, a smile breaking through the earlier clouds of worry. "They stood by us." "Yes, but Wright won't back down easily," Ethan replied, unable to shake off the gnawing unease. "We need to be ready for what's next. We need a plan." Lily's brow furrowed, her gaze flickering to the now empty stage adorned with the remnants of their rally. "You know," she mused, "I've been thinking. If we really want to protect our community, we should turn the tide on him. Show everyone who he really is." Ethan raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "What do you mean? What if we started gathering stories? All those people who have been affected by his way of doing things? People in our neighborhood, families who've lost their homes or livelihoods." Her eyes were bright with determination now, the fire of an idea taking hold. "If we can collect their voices, we can make a campaign. Run the stories side by side with his corporate bluster. Show the world that our community matters more than his bottom line." A spark of hope ignited. "You're right. If we can show the impact of his actions, it could change how people see him. We need to humanize what's at stake." Just then, they spotted an older man sitting on a park bench, his face furrowed in thought. Ethan recognized him from the neighborhood, a retired teacher who had spent decades shaping young minds. "Hold on a second," he said to Lily, pointing. "Let us talk to Mr. Jacobs. He might have some important stories to share." As they approached him, Mr. Jacobs looked up, his eyes lightening at the sight of familiar faces. "Ethan, Lily. Glad to see you both. I heard the rally went well. It's time we fight back, isn't it?" "Absolutely," Ethan replied, excitement bubbling in his voice. "We want to gather stories. Stories of what this community has gone through, whether good or bad." Mr. Jacobs leaned in closer, nodding earnestly. "You wouldn't believe how many struggles I've seen in this community over the years. There's a real fire in the hearts of the people, and it's time for us to let that fire shine. We have to show everyone that our stories are just as important as the headlines." Lily's eyes sparkled. If you have the time, would you be willing to share your story with us, Mr. Jacobs? It could really inspire others to speak up too. Of course. I might have a few tales that could reveal the truth about what we're facing. They settled on the bench, the fading light wrapping around them. Stories flowed like a river, filled with laughter and sorrow, triumphs and losses. Each word ignited a sense of community that Ethan hadn't realized had been hidden beneath the surface. The resilience, the kindness, the shared history. Hours slipped away as they listened, jotting down notes, capturing moments that spoke to the very heart of their fight. With each story, Ethan felt the weight lifting slightly, replaced by a wave of purpose. It wasn't just about them anymore, it was about everyone who had ever called this place home. But just as they were about to say their goodbyes, Ethan's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, his eyes widening at the screen. It's a message from Maya. She says Wright is planning to take action against us, and it's happening sooner than we thought. A chill ran down Ethan's spine, and he exchanged a worried glance with Lily. The stakes were rising, and they were running out of time. We need to do this quickly, she said, her resolve hardening. Yeah, but we also need to stay under the radar, Ethan cautioned. If Wright catches wind of our plan, he may go after everyone we've reached out to. Well, then let us keep moving. We can't let fear hold us back. The truth needs to come out. As they turned to leave, the weight of their mission settled on their shoulders. A million obstacles stood in their way, but now, they had stories to tell and allies to gather. While the shadows of doubt loomed, Ethan found a glimmer of hope. It was the power of the community that might just change everything, but the question loomed: would it be enough to stand against Wright and his relentless ambition? What would it take for them not just to survive, but to truly thrive? They were ready to find out. The days turned into weeks, crowded with determination and urgency. Ethan and Lily poured their hearts into the mission, gathering stories from their neighbors, each narrative stitching together the fabric of their community. Each voice they encountered, those of struggling parents, retired teachers, local businesses, added depth to their cause. It became clear that Mr. Wright's ambitions couldn't eclipse the power of shared experiences. On a sunny Saturday morning, Ethan and Lily set up a booth in the park. Their goal? To display the collected stories on large boards for everyone to see. Vibrant photographs hung alongside heartfelt quotes, capturing the essence of their town's spirit amidst hardship and hope. As they worked, familiar faces popped in and out, marveling at the stories showing unwavering resilience. "This is incredible!" Lily exclaimed, her voice brimming with excitement. "Look at everyone who came out to support us. We've turned this into a celebration of who we are." Ethan smiled, heart swelling at the sight of families gathering, discussing the stories on display. "We're creating a movement," he replied, feeling the pulse of change in the air. But as they reveled in the success of the event, a familiar chill swept through Ethan's spine. The looming shadow of Mr. Wright lingered nearby, watching with calculating eyes. He approached with a confident stride, flanked by security, a disapproving smirk replacing his earlier bravado. "You've turned this into quite the gallery, haven't you?" he taunted, glancing over the displays. "All this community spirit, so touching. But what happens when reality hits? The council isn't going to take kindly to your little show here." Ethan felt the tension thicken. "This isn't just a show, Mr. Wright. These stories reflect real lives, real struggles. Our community is strong, and it's not going anywhere," he replied, the conviction in his voice echoing through the park. Wright chuckled darkly, "Maybe, but strength doesn't keep the lights on. You better watch your back, Ethan. I know people who can make your lives very uncomfortable." He nodded to his security team, a threatening reminder that they were dealing with serious power. Lily stepped forward, determination igniting within her. "We're not afraid of your intimidation tactics. We're building something real here, and we won't be silenced." Her bravery rippled through the crowd, and murmurs of agreement echoed around them. Excitement crackled in the atmosphere as a wave of solidarity swept through the park. People stood taller, a collective voice rising against the fear that Wright sought to instill. "Good luck with that," Wright replied, rolling his eyes, backing away with a flick of his wrist. "You'll need it. Just remember, you can't fight City Hall." With that, he turned, disappearing into the distance, but his words hung heavily in the air like a storm cloud. Ethan turned to Lily, anxiety creeping in. "Yes, right. The council might see this as a threat. We have to be careful about stepping on toes." Lily frowned, but her eyes sparkled with resolve. "This is our moment, Ethan. We've got to rally even more support. If we show them our strength, they won't just hear us, they'll feel us." Days turned into nights filled with planning, strategizing, and encouragement. They called town hall meetings, inviting anyone willing to fight alongside them. The community poured in, sharing fears, solutions, and a vision for a future where they controlled their destinies, not an outsider. On the day of the big council meeting, Ethan felt the jitter of nerves swirling in his stomach. The council room was packed. Community members filled every seat, some even standing along the walls. The air buzzed with anticipation. This was it. Would their voices break through the glass ceiling of bureaucracy? Lily, standing beside him, squeezed his hand. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every family here. Let us give them our truth, loud and proud." As they waited for their turn to speak, Ethan scanned the crowd. The faces of his neighbors filled him with warmth. They were whole and united, standing against the indifference that threatened to consume them. When their moment arrived, Ethan stepped forward, heart pounding. "We are here today not just as individuals, but as a community. Each story here represents hope, struggle, and resilience," he declared, his voice solid and unwavering. "We won't let anyone dictate our future." Applause erupted, filling the room with energy. He felt Lily's spirit beside him, her reminder shining through the crowd. Lily stepped forward, her energy radiating as she spoke. "We are asking for your support, not just to protect our homes, but to preserve the soul of our community. We are more than statistics or plots on a map. We are families, friends, memories of every street and corner that makes this place home." Their words danced through the chamber as Ethan felt the tide shifting. They had sparked something within the hearts of everyone in attendance. He could see council members shifting, their expressions softening. Before long, the meeting wrapped up, and the council promised to consider their plea for protection against the developments. As they left, the crowd erupted into cheers, hugs exchanged, and tears of joy spilling over. Ethan and Lily stood amid their neighbors, smiles brightening even the darkest corners of doubt. "We did it," she said breathlessly, her eyes shining. "No, we did it," he replied, feeling the unity. That was the true victory, the community they rebuilt together. But in the back of Ethan's mind, a thought lingered: would Mr. Wright let this go? What other schemes did he have hiding in the shadows? The fight was far from over. Days passed, conversations flowed, and a surge of pride connected the community more than ever. But just as they thought they could breathe a little easier, an unexpected phone call shattered the calm. Ethan answered with a furrowed brow. It was Maya, her voice laced with urgency. "Ethan, I overheard something. Wright is planning a last-ditch effort to bulldoze the community meeting. He means business." Ethan's heart dropped. "When?" "Tomorrow," she replied. He'll be using loopholes with the council to push his plan forward. You have to act fast." He hung up, adrenaline racing through him. "We have to have an emergency meeting tonight." As they gathered that evening, the scope of the challenge revealed itself to most. Yet, instead of fear, something powerful ignited determination. Lily stood strong, rallying the room. "We won't just stand by while he tries to erase us. Let us mobilize the community. Let us create a direct action plan to mobilize against any last-ditch efforts he has." Plans were brainstormed, voices rose, and a collective resolve sealed the night. As they parted ways, Ethan felt the familiar warmth of hope overshadowing the fear of uncertainty that had lingered. Are you ready for tomorrow? Lily asked quietly as they stepped outside into the cool night. The stars twinkled above, hopeful, like something watching over them. More than ever, Ethan replied. No matter what happens, we'll face it together. The next morning, as the sun broke through the gray, Ethan stood with the community gathered outside City Hall. News cameras were there, officials shuffled in and out. Everything was set to unfold. They were ready to fight not just for their homes, but to let the world know together they were unbreakable. As the council convened, Ethan stood amidst friends, family, and neighbors. The fight for their community shone brighter than ever. They might face storms ahead, but side by side, they embodied the heart of resilience. They would not be just voices echoing in silence, they would be a symphony impossible to ignore, and as the council meeting commenced, a breath of anticipation surged through the crowd. This was it. A stand against indifference, fear, and the chance to reclaim their future. Maybe, just maybe, they could turn the tides. The answer rested in their unity, their unyielding spirit, as the power of community whispered with hope. The fight had only begun, but as Ethan looked around, he felt the spark of determination ignite. Something beautiful kindled from within, ready to face the battles ahead. As they took that first step toward a brighter future, the world was watching, and with each heartbeat, they reminded everyone that together, they were unstoppable. The echoes of hope would reveal the truth, and there was nothing more powerful than a community that stood as one. The sun shone brighter as Ethan clenched his fists, an unwavering promise forged in unison, ready to take on whatever came their way. The fight for justice, no matter how challenging, was far more than a dream. It was their reality, and it would be heard loud and clear. Now, the bell of their unity rang. And they were ready. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, you need to be part of this journey. Only true fans know the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's keep this community alive.